So I want to have a big family. I want to homeschool. I want to homestead. I want to do all that stuff with my kids. He's my first one, but I want to have a big family. And the overwhelming response that I get when I tell people that I want to have 5, 6, maybe 7 kids is so negative. And they're like, oh, why would you want to do that? That sounds terrible. You're crazy. I'm like, he's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I want to understand. Thank you. I want to understand how we can help change this stigma against people wanting to have bigger families, because I think it's better for the country, like you say. It just makes you more conservative. So how do we change that stigma against
Yeah, I think we have to be honest, though, that self-love, by the way, is one of the most dangerous things happening in America. Self-love leads to self-harm. Self-love is one of the reasons why we see so many young ladies have mental health issues. And when you have children, it is the death of self-love. Now, you might say, well, what then you should have self-respect, not self-love. Big difference. When you have children, though, you realize it's not all about you. You get up at 2 a.m. because you have to serve something else. You have to serve another human being that is not you. Having children is more about duty and obligation, not about narcissism and pleasure. And we must talk about in society what one ought to do, not what one wants to do. And what we have done in America far too often is we say, I am my own boss. I get to call my own shots. It works for some people, but for most people, that actually is a life of misery. That is a life that is without direction. And for almost every single one of you here, God wired into you a biological urge and a need to reproduce and to raise children. And so we should celebrate big families. In fact, I think it would be awesome for the looming fertility crisis if everyone here had 7 children. I think that would be amazing. And if that happened, that would be 15,000 human beings, and that would be a good start, because people say no less than 7. I think 7's a good start. I think 7's good. Or whatever number, 4, 5, 6. And you might say, oh, Charlie, but I think in some ways, though, I totally get the hesitancy and all that, but I could tell you the people with big families, and I know a lot of wealthy people, the wealthiest people in society I've met, literally the richest people in the world I've met, okay? The wealthiest people that I know are the ones with biggest families. And they're the ones that, by the way, big families, they are never lacking in purpose, they are never lacking in direction, and they're never bored. Now, this is very important. The most unhappy people in America are bored. I want you to think about that. Boredom is a gateway to deep unhappiness. So it's not easy. Raising children is hard. It is a death to yourself. It is one of the most difficult things you can do.